back, everybody, for another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm your host, Allie Heisong, coming at you live from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Back here in Myrtle Beach. I know last week I was traveling home to Canton, Ohio, but Dustin, I'm here in Myrtle Beach once again. I've got my studio set up. We're back in action. Join with me is Dustin in Idaho. Dustin, man, what a week. What a weekend.
Allie, my wonderful co-host. It's really hard to explain what happened. The first series, as Browns fans know, we looked good. We looked like we were going down the field. And, well, then the wheels came off the wagon. But as we all know, we have the Bengals this week. We don't have much time to prepare or think about that. And Stefanski said, this game's on me. It's scheme. It's being prepared. But we have to correct things. We don't have a heck of a lot of time to fix it because we got Thursday night. The Bengals are in Cleveland.
Yeah, like Dustin just said, guys, we are on a short week. Of course, it's already Wednesday. We play tomorrow night, Thursday night football against the Cincinnati Bengals in the Battle of Ohio. 100-year battle. It's crazy to think about. We're going to get to it all, guys. We're going to get to the good, the bad, the ugly of Sunday at 1:00 against the Ravens.
You're already trying to erase it, Allie. That's perfect.
I am. We've got a lot to get to tonight. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the positives. We'll talk about the negatives. We'll talk about keys to a victory as we go into Thursday night against the Bengals. But Dustin, before we even get into that, of course, we have to give a shout out to our good friends at onlyincleve.com. Guys, if you need anything apparel related, hats, shirts, mugs, anything you need Cleveland Browns related or Cleveland Cavaliers, Cleveland Indians, Ohio State, because they're back now in the Big Ten, go check them out at onlyincleve.com.
October 24th. Who would have thought Big Ten football is back?
Big Ten football is back. I'm wearing my Buckeyes jersey. Obviously really excited about that. Dustin, I can't wait. I am just pumped. It's a good day.
Thanks, Allie. I don't get any college football. Thanks, Allie.
No, you can. Here's the thing. Football, I'm just excited there is football at this point.
Sure.
There's a great NFL product out there. Of course, the Browns didn't produce that on Sunday, but it's almost normal, right? And I was really intrigued to see how the NFL would put this out with the crowd noise, some stadiums allowing fans, some not. The Browns will have 6,000 on Thursday, but it's just really intriguing to have football back, even though it didn't go like we planned on Sunday, but just to have that product.
Yeah, and Allie, it didn't seem, without the fans, I didn't see a big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, the game field, the NFL is obviously very good at camera angles and what they do because that's, they're the greatest thing on television when it comes to sports. But it looked just like a typical Sunday afternoon of an NFL football game.
Yeah, I agree.
And the crowd, you could obviously see some empty spots in the stands, but for the most part, the NFL kind of got it right. They kind of looked around, and by the way, we all know they had more time than any of these other leagues to kind of get it together and see what other teams did and didn't do and what looked good and what did not look good as far as the product on the field. Yeah.
First, before we even get into this, guys, before we really kick things off, we've got a great show coming for you. We've got some exclusive interviews coming on later in the show. And I just told Dustin off air, I said, there's so much to get to. I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading the comments, but I have to bring this one. Richard Householder, a great friend of the program. It is his birthday. So happy birthday, Richard. We're just so excited to have you as a fan of the show.
Hey, Richard, okay, you could be doing a lot of other things on your birthday, but how cool is that you're listening to us? So
I know.
If you're married or your significant others, we apologize that he's, spending some time with us this evening. But Richard, you know what? Allie and I will talk offline. We'll send you a little surprise birthday.
We got something for you, man.
We'll come up with something. I know you've won some stuff in the past, but happy birthday to you. And hopefully the Browns can deliver you a Browns victory the day after your birthday.
He just said, I just want a Browns win for my birthday. So Dustin, we've got a lot to get to tonight. We do have DJ HazMatt coming on here later on in the program to get his take on Browns versus Baltimore and what happened in that game. And of course, a preview for Browns Bengals. And then we've got later on in the show, our crew from onlyincleve.com to come on and showcase some of their new items. Dustin, let's just get into it, man. Let's just dive in head first. Browns, Ravens, not good. What are your takeaways from Sunday?
Well, here's my takeaways. I will give kudos where kudos are due. Mm-hmm. The Ravens are pretty damn good. They're a pretty solid football team. And here's the one thing I do know. We had 3 turnovers, correct, Dahlia? Is that right? We had 3 turnovers on Sunday? I believe
Too many.
So. Yeah, but I think we had 3. 97% of the time in the National Football League, the team that loses the turnover battle loses the football game.
Right.
Plain and simple. And you can make mistakes against bad teams or okay teams. You can't make mistakes against good or great teams. They will make you pay for it. And we saw that happen real quick with a game 10-6, get out of hand real quick when things started going the wrong way. So, kudos to the Ravens. I think they're going to be a perennial all season long. And I think the Browns just didn't seem like they were in sync, and they didn't seem schemed, and they didn't seem, and, we can get into this a little bit. Baker forcing the ball to Odell. There were just some things that didn't look natural. And I do hope tomorrow night in this football game that Baker will just settle down, be himself. And one of the most interesting things I saw is Baker needs to be Drew Brees, because that's really where he's the most successful, in the pocket, reading his reads and playing the game that he is. Don't be who you're not, right? Mm-hmm. And I think when Baker is who Baker is, he's really, really successful. And I think if he gets back to going with the guys that he feels comfortable in the pocket with, and not having to feel like he has to force a ball here or there and just go with his natural reads, I think it'll pay huge dividends for him. And I think he just needs to he seems like he's a little too kind of jacked up a little bit. If he just calms down a little bit and just lets the game come to him instead of taking the game to them. So
no, I agree with you, Dustin. I think part of it too, and I don't want to put too much of an emphasis on this because I don't want to make excuses. I think the Browns absolutely just didn't show up on Sunday, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Baltimore's great. I mean, that's a Super Bowl caliber team. Lamar, wow.
He looks better than he did last year. I'm going to say.
Wow. Really, really, really great football team. Very well coached. And you saw it. They the thing with them, Dustin, versus us, we're implementing a new offensive scheme. We've got a new head coach. You have a lot of new pieces and parts, and you were deprived of a regular offseason. Now, the thing with the Ravens is they were running it back, just a few key additions, and everybody was on the same page from day one. But I completely agree. I think in order to be successful tomorrow night and to be successful as we go through the season is they have to get back to basics. And right now they have to do that because of the depleted offseason. They didn't have a substantial training camp. They were depleted with injuries. Of course, a lot of soft tissue, things like that. They didn't have OTAs, rookie mini camp. And a lot of time in training camp was focused on the install phase. They didn't get past that. It was just learning this offense. Right. So if they can get back to basics, Dustin, Baker's got to be Baker. He's got to be able to let it rip and have that security. We didn't see that on Sunday. He was forcing the ball. They didn't develop the run. I think they were very successful from the start at the run, but they didn't really delve into that they should. And Austin Hooper, this is absolutely egregious. Austin Hooper had 2 targets.
Yeah. 2. Well, and here's the thing. We know this is just the way of the beast. You get behind, you got to start passing, right? You get down by 10, 14 points, you got to start passing the ball, and you go away from the run. I think Cleveland went away from the run too early, and they should have just stuck to the run, because if the run's successful, the pass will open up, right? Mm-hmm. So I think they got a little too nervous and started passing the ball, and then once you started making mistakes, with passing the ball, well, then it just kind of went down.
It just
from there, but I think they'll rebound tomorrow. I do. Yeah.
Well, in this too, Dustin, I think Baker, and we saw this last year, especially with the forced balls to Odell and just not doing what he's comfortable with. He's not taking what the defense is giving him. He's really making up his mind pre-snap. Hey, I'm going to go to Odell here. Whether or not that's beneficial for the rest of the team, or, hey, I might have Jarvis one-on-one with a linebacker, a rookie linebacker, but I'm going to go to Odell in double coverage because I'm determined that that's what I'm going to do. You have to be able to, you have to be able to read the defense. And I'm not questioning his ability to do so, but I think he's just making way too many pre-snap.
You bring up a good point. A lot of the people, some people were like, hey, just calm down about Baker. And I'm kind of the same way. Let him get into his rhythm this year with this new offense. If we get halfway through the season and it's not looking like he's picking it up, well, that's different, right? But the one thing they were talking about, to your point, new offenses, new schemes, comfortable, they were very impressed, and they talked about how you could see Lamar was going through his second, third, even fourth progressions, right? And you weren't seeing that from Baker on the other side of the ball. going through that second, third, or fourth progression. And, hopefully that will come in time as he gets more comfortable in this offense. But you're right. Lamar had this entire offense last year. He's just repeating and getting more reps and more comfortable. And we saw that on Sunday. He just went out there like it was just another game to him. And he looked like this is easy for me because I'm very well versed in what I need to do against this team or any other team in the NFL.
And I think I was surprised too, Dustin, at how many empty sets they ran on offense. You've got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the backfield, which I think is probably the best in the league by a wide margin. And you've got Baker in shotgun and nobody around him. And you're working it to Odell. And I just think that there was way too much, forced offense that just wasn't natural.
Back to the fullback, back to the run game.
Get back to basics. Keep it simple.
And I think you'll see that. I think you'll see that Thursday night. They'll get back to what made them successful in training camp and what they are trying to scheme for. And I think they're going to just dial this back a little bit and say, look, let's get back to where we know what we can execute. And let's not try to force anything. Because here's the other thing. Everybody feels like this person has to get the ball or that. You know what solves all that? Winning. Just go ahead and win a football game. Just go win a football game.
Let's go do it. With that, Dustin, let's go ahead and do this. First and foremost, again, we want to give a shout out to our friends at onlyincleve.com. We're going to get into, like we said, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what to prepare for as we go into Thursday night football against the Cincinnati Bengals in the Battle of Ohio. But we would be remiss, Dustin, if we didn't do that without DJ HazMatt. So I'm going to go ahead and admit him to our Zoom call.
All right.
Give him a second as he comes on. Guys, DJ HazMatt's the best around. He's a Browns fan. He's a DJ. He's got it all. So we're excited to have him on tonight. He is connecting. Let's give him a second here, Dustin. But we wouldn't be able to talk. We wouldn't be able to talk Browns Ravens if we didn't have DJ HazMatt on. It just wouldn't be a good show. Well,
and he's coming to us from his little his dog pound.
He's coming to us from the dog pound. So we'll give him a second here. It's connecting. Here's the thing with Zoom, guys, and technology. We're all remote still. You just got to have a little patience here.
Yeah, he was giving me a little bit of look about his whole setup down there. He's got a pretty good setup down there because obviously he does his show from there and everything else. So looks like he's still connecting to audio, but we have him visually. So I think HazMatt, if you can hear us, we can see you. We just don't have your audio up yet.
There he is.
Oh, he didn't realize we were.
I was sitting there looking at my phone and I didn't even have the audio on. Hey, what's going on?
How are we doing, DJ? How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're good. We're happy to have you. How's
the Ravens Browns household?
This is a Browns household, as you can see. That person is just here visiting or staying for a short time.
There we go. All right.
Speaking about my oldest son, the Ravens fan is here. Of course, he's happy his team was winning, but he wasn't getting too rowdy about it. He doesn't.
Well, well, he knows. He knows his place.
He don't want to get into it with me about the Ravens. He knows that he sees me get into it with a lot of Ravens fans, and he don't want that. He don't want that smoke. He don't want that smoke.
No. So DJ HazMatt, your son is a Ravens fan. You're a Browns fan. So let me ask you this:
one of my sons.
One of them.
Browns fans, yes, like they supposed to.
So after this,
house divided.
House divided. After that absolute debacle on Sunday, where's your head? What are you thinking? The good, the bad, the ugly. Give us your reaction.
Oh man, it was absolutely horrible. I mean, I can't say it any other words. It was just the most horrible thing that I could have imagined happen. Now I can take it that taking a L to the Ravens. I mean, they went 14-2. They had the MVP. We were, forecast to lose that game anyway. But I just didn't expect us to come out and look embarrassingly bad. And so that is the part that kills me the most, that we didn't at least compete with the team and show like, hey, we here too. Like y'all might have won, but we're here.
Like we went out and laid an egg, basically.
But that's par for the course. That's what we do every opening day. We go out and lay a big old egg. I don't know why we haven't figured it out by now. I duped somebody last year. They bought the season tickets for like $500. wanted to be there for the Titans game. I was like, here you go.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what's worse? What's worse, last year against the Titans or this year against the Ravens?
I think this year. Last year against the Titans was bad,
Rough.
But I think because we felt like, okay, we didn't really realize in the beginning that Freddie Kitchens was Freddie Kitchens. And so once we realized that, we figured, well, hey, a better coach would have definitely had this team in better shape. So here we go. And the whole thing is he a better coach? I don't know. I think it's just as bad. They're equally as bad, to be honest, because we're coming with the same roster with a few new pieces and same old Browns. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I definitely think the coach is better. I just think this team is challenged. I think, Ali, you've brought this up. Some teams are challenged in the league this year based on if it's a new offense or new scheme versus, hey, this is what we ran last year. Preseason games, you don't get any of that vetting out for a new offense or very closed down training camp. I don't know. That's just me. The less reps you have with anything, the less practice you do, you just aren't as good at it, right? So that's just my take. I guess I call it keep the powder dry. By week 5 or 6, if this is still happening, well, there's a bigger problem in my opinion, right?
Right. I agree with that. I definitely agree.
Well, I can agree to a certain extent that, that was a factor, but it definitely was a factor in like all 32 teams. I mean, I saw teams like the Washington football team who just came with Ron Rivera for the first year. So they learned a new system and they were able to go and beat their division rivals.
And as you know, he's got cancer treatment and he wasn't even there for half of the game.
And they won. And Chase Young is doing what Myles Garrett should have been doing. And it's like, come on, we got these players that are supposed to do these things and they're not doing what we expect them to do. So they're far below our expectations. Regardless of whether you had a camp or no, you should have been able to do better than 6 points.
At least show up and make it a game. I agree with that.
That's all we ask. Like, we just want to not be the joke of the football NFL anymore. Can we not live up to everybody else's expectations?
As you have no idea.
Everybody right.
As you have no idea how hard it was. And you know how people are on radio for me to go in on Monday morning. Like, I literally walked in the building and we have an intercom over our entire building. They're like, Dustin has arrived for work, but clearly the Cleveland Browns did not arrive this Sunday. That was the announcement on the overhead. So
wasn't good. Just wasn't
is that the best you could do? Come on. I'm dealing with I was going back and forth with Raven fans, people that I knew from Aberdeen, Maryland, capping for the Ravens, and we had an intense back and forth on Facebook. I was reminding them what we did to them last year, just hoping we was going to march back in there and do some similar things. And I thought early on when we were running the ball well, we were averaging like 5-6 yards a carry. I don't understand why you go away from what's working. It's like they thought they were at practice or something. It's like, okay, we practiced these runs. Now let's try these passes with like no rhyme or reason as to why you're doing.
As we're the Browns, that's what we do.
And here's the thing too, guys. I just think it's absolutely egregious that Austin Hooper only gets 2 targets. And in training camp, he's been that safety blanket, that security net for Baker Mayfield to work the middle of the field and getting away from the run the way we have. Dustin, you and I just talked, having that many empty sets and that many empty formations as we go throughout the duration of this game was just mind-blowing to me. But one thing for me, you brought this up at the very beginning. It's not so much about taking the loss, right? We can all agree that Baltimore is, they're really, really good. They've got the reigning MVP. They're just spectacular team on both sides of the football. But it's not so much about taking the loss, but it's just about looking right. And we said that so many times last year. Just go out and look like you're supposed to. I'm okay with a loss here and there, but just make it, for the love of God, let it look the way that it should.
Make it watchable.
If you're not even going to be able to compete with teams in your own division, how can we ever expect to win the division? Where's my hope for the division if you're going to allow Baltimore to do this to you every time you play them, or every time? No, we could go out and win against everybody else and then allow Baltimore and hopefully not Pittsburgh to deal with us in this manner. And then it's just like all for nothing. It's like we have
Right.
to win the division games. We have to show that we belong or that we are competing for the AFC North. It's time. It's like,
It's time.
Why not? You're talented enough to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Stefanski, I don't understand what his play calling was about. It was very Freddie Kitchen-esque. So I don't understand the fake punt. I don't understand anything that was happening, to be honest. Like, I don't know why they have this desire or less like this fixation on Baker Mayfield being the one to carry the team. He doesn't have to. That's the whole thing. Realize this put Case Keenum in the game.
I know you've got what 8+ Pro Bowlers on the offense. Let them carry the team.
Let him watch how a quarterback is supposed to run this offense.
Right.
I bet you he'd learn a few things and maybe get his act together. You know what I mean? Because maybe something is amiss to me here with Baker and how he's handling the quarterback position right now.
Well,
he looks
right.
he doesn't look comfortable.
There's too much talent on that team.
Yeah, right.
For it not to look right. Yeah.
But he's not executing the plays. Like when he drops back for a pass, he's looking like what's his name that used to be here a long time ago? Whedon. He's not looking any better than any quarterbacks that we've had in the past. He's looking somehow that orange helmet has managed to make him look exactly like all the other quarterbacks. And I don't really understand why we can't just run the ball. Like Tennessee does it.
I know it. Here's the thing, Haz, you bring up competing in the division, right? Obviously, you get started week 1 and week 2 in the division with Cincinnati and Baltimore. How do we go in tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, Battle of Ohio? How do we win tomorrow?
We pray that good Baker, that good Baker shows up. Like, listen, I watched footage for Joe Burrow.
He's good. He's good.
The boy looks really good already. That last drive that he orchestrated was masterful. The throws that he was making into tight windows throughout the day, really, I'm sure, it may have gotten stagnant. So that's why we're going to need Myles Garrett to really, really, really step up. He cannot have a game the way he had against Orlando Brown. He's going to need to be a lot more dominant, because if you allow this young man to sit back there, he's already shown that he has the ability to make quick, decisive decisions and pinpoint passes. And he was hitting strikes out there.
You know what I thought about? When I was watching Joe Burrow. Mm-hmm. So the NFL is all about film and watching players and figuring them out. Baker lit it up in his rookie year too, right? There was no film on him, right? I think Joe Burrow is kind of that same. We'll see in another year, right? After they have all the film on Joe Burrow, if he's really the real deal, right? That we always learn that, right? Because once he goes out there as a rookie, you don't know what he's going to throw at you. So the defense has to kind of guess, right? They're kind of figuring him out. So he had a really good game against, a Chargers team that's got a pretty formidable defense, but it'll be interesting.
I think in a sense, you kind of know when you see someone that is going to have those abilities or not. You can see the quarterback's body language and the way they release the ball, the confidence in which they get out there and call the plays, the steadiness of how he handled those circumstances. And I don't think we got enough film on him to figure it out in 2 days. I hope. And I'm really just looking at the fact that we're a little decimated on defense. Our secondary is trash right now.
Rough shape.
So that's going to be an advantage for him. So that's all I'm saying is we got to hope that good Baker shows up to counteract Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can win the game, but it's possibly going to have to be, and hopefully maybe, an entertaining shootout.
Well, yeah, I completely agree with you. You bring up Myles Garrett, who he made his first appearance back on Sunday, from your boy Myles, Dustin, from his suspension. He made his first appearance, and I really thought he was going to come out and be a lot more dominant than he was. He was going up against exclusively the right tackle, exclusively. Mm-hmm. So I think, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, continue.
I was just going to say here, I think my keys to a victory on Thursday night, one, you have to have that front four be dominant because the back end is not. We are depleted in the secondary. That front four has got to get after the quarterback. We've got a rookie quarterback in Joe Burrow. You've got a depleted offensive line in Cincinnati. Miles has to be a stud. He has to be able to shut it down. So I think that's first and foremost on the defensive side of the ball. Second, you have to execute on special teams. I'm going to get to Baker in a second, but you have to execute on special teams, which is something we obviously did not do on Sunday. It was really rough.
Wait a minute. But see, the thing about having one of the best punters in the league is you have to allow him to punt.
Yeah. True.
He cannot be effective if he doesn't do what his specialty is.
Are you saying his job is to punt? No.
It obviously is. He doesn't know how to take hits, carrying the ball. One hit,
that was
boom.
bad. God, that was bad.
I mean, come on. And Zendejo, listen, I could go all day about the day that
he had a really
every
rough
bad play, he was involved.
Mm-hmm.
And that fake punt was one of the plays because that block attempt he did in that play was terrible. It was just absolutely
atrocious,
horrible. Now, had he made that block, it may have worked, but he didn't, and he had to take a hit, which he's not normally used to taking, and he dropped the ball.
I just think get back to basics. You have to execute on special teams. You don't have to be fancy out there. You don't have to play trick plays and do all this and that. You don't have to outshine yourselves.
No,
you're handing the ball off. At least he's handing the ball off to his name, Kareem Hunt, instead of bringing him in only on passing plays like they did last year. And we were getting good results. Like, that's what we expect. We expect him and Chubb to just run all over. No, put them both in the backfield. Let's get some misdirection. I don't know who's getting the ball, and let's eat them up. They weren't stopping the run.
And even take a look at their front four, their front seven, really, were able to stop the run, get after the quarterback, and we were still successful running the ball. But we had for some reason got away from it.
123 yards rushing.
Yeah,
we could have had a lot more. Chubb only touched the ball 10 times. It's just baffles me that, and I hate to say it, but I feel like, and I felt like before we made the move, that Odell Beckham Jr. might, just the presence of him, not his talent, be a hindrance to the progression of the offense, because Baker had the rookie touchdown record without Odell Beckham Jr. So it's common knowledge to think if you add that type of a talent to that mix, then it's only going to get better, but not when the personality interrupts that. Because I do feel that people kind of kowtow to his personality and like, well, let's do what we can to try and get him the ball. If he's getting upset or whatever, I know he wants to be involved in the game, and I admire that. But I think you have to let the game come to you.
You do.
We were talking about that before you came on. You need to let the game come to you. Yeah.
Right. And
so, Allie, I'll give you my three.
Go ahead.
I'll give you my three takes, Allie.
Let's do it.
Run the ball. Run the ball. Run the ball.
Run the damn ball.
No, seriously. Right. I'm serious. If you think about it, if you take that same philosophy into the Ravens game, the less times Lamar Jackson's on the field, the more successful the Cleveland Browns are. So,
and plus you're exposing your defense.
Yes.
When you get out here and go 3 and out, and you putting your defense right back on the field, and you know that they're depleted, it's like you have to play ball control when your defense is suffering and they're not at full strength. You have to try and keep them off the field as much as possible, so you don't
keep them fresh.
Them. Right.
Keep them fresh. Yeah.
And you got to call, and you got to blitz. Like you got to get to the quarterback. You got to make them uncomfortable back there. You can't just have them sitting back there, because I don't care who it is. And Joe Burrow has already proved that if you let him sit back there, he's gonna pick you apart. Yep. He will, and he's already ready to do it. And it's that this our quarterback that can't get it together like everybody else.
And you've got Joe Burrow too, he'll run on you too. He doesn't care. And keep in mind, you've not only do you have Joe Burrow in the pocket, you've got elite level Joe Mixon also back there who can make things happen.
Man, I mean, they have talent, and AJ Green is back, and Ross is speedy. So, and that's gonna be a problem. We already had problems with Hollywood Brown running by everybody in the secondary. So what do you think they're gonna do? They saw that film. You think they're not gonna send the fastest receiver in the league on a similar route? So it's like we're gonna have to put pressure on Joe Burrow. We're gonna have to be in his face. Ogunjobi, all hands on deck on that front line, because we have to make it uncomfortable for him early, and maybe we can shake his confidence. But I think
maybe get a turnover. Maybe get a turnover.
If you let him settle in, it's gonna be a long Thursday night.
So let me ask you this. Let's get to it. And then I want to go a little bit around the league before we get you off here. But first and foremost, Dustin, we'll get to you in a second. But DJ HazMatt, let's just do it. What's your score prediction for Thursday night?
Well, I'm not going to pick the Browns to lose. Okay,
we are
favored. We are favored in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's I just think it's going to be a shootout, because I don't think that the Browns will be able to. You know what? I'm going to give them a better chance at slowing the Cincinnati offense down, of course, than Baltimore.
Right.
So I'm going to say Browns win 27-21.
Okay, no. I like it. Dustin, what about you?
So I changed my score from earlier, Allie. To your point, after listening to Haz, we are decimated in some areas. Mm-hmm. I'm going Bengals 20, Browns 34. So win by a couple touchdowns.
Okay.
So we kind of pull away in the fourth quarter, get ahead of them, but kind of a shootout to your point, Haz, here and there. And Haz, real quick, what are your three keys to the win, by the way, as well?
Keys to the win, obviously the front seven, pass rush, good Baker Mayfield, and run the ball.
There we go.
Simple. Keep it simple. I think that's bottom line. Just keep it simple. For me, I've also changed mine here or there, Dustin. I'm kind of back and forth. At first, I was going, you know what? This Bengals team's actually not that bad. I know they've been discounted a lot by the media, but they've got a lot of talent. So my first prediction, I really only had us winning by a couple points, but I actually ended up changing it because I think Browns are pissed. They're coming out on Thursday. They're going to put on a little bit of a show. It's not going to be an absolute offensive shootout because I don't think they're capable just yet. But getting back to the basics, running the football, work in the middle of the field with Austin Hooper. I'm going Browns 24, Bengals 17.
Okay.
24-17, so just a touchdown.
24-17 by 7 points. So let's get into this.
7 points, not
let's get into this. Of course, we were not the only team to play on week 1. Let's get your take on just kind of what was going on around the league. You had some crazy stuff. You had some of the older quarterbacks looking a little bit older. You have DeAndre Swift make a horrific play in Detroit, cost them the game. You've got Russell Wilson just looking like a stud out in Seattle. What are your thoughts?
Russell Wilson is my fantasy quarterback. But you know what? I still lost. Like, you have been a fantasy, and I played against the only team that would have beat me in the whole league. But that's neither here nor there.
I took the Colts. I took the Colts in a pick'em league, and the Jaguars won.
I know.
Oh, well,
unbelievable.
Fantasy football, you just have certain players. So Russell Wilson is one of my quarterbacks, and he's awesome. I feel like Seattle with Jamal Adams, that is going to be something to watch this season. Jamal Adams is like going to bring the Legion of Boom back. Mm-hmm. So, and I was very disappointed to see that, Ben Roethlisberger looked decent in his return.
He had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley, folks.
Saquon had 6.
And that's the thing. And I have Saquon on my fantasy team too.
Gosh.
And I'm like, oh my God.
What kind of world are we living in when in a game Big Ben has more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley? I mean, think about that. Just that context of those words.
It's 2020.
2020. Yeah, you're right, it's 2020.
2020. So, I mean, what happened with Tom Brady was unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how he responds. I don't think he's just going to
I think it was very interesting how his coach kind of gave him a little tongue laughing about
yeah, he definitely, Bruce Arians doesn't hold his tongue. He speaks.
No,
he says what he wants to say. So, and Tom's a grown man, so he should be able to handle that. and keep it moving. I'm a little concerned with Drew Brees now that they've lost Michael Thomas. He's my fantasy quarterback on one of my other teams, but so I'm not sure how that's going to affect him. I wish I would have picked Alvin Kamara because it seems like he's going to be just amazing this year.
Stud.
So, but I do have the young running back from Kansas City, the rookie
Clyde Edwards-Helaire put on a
show. So yes, so of course Kansas City, they looking like Kansas City.
Kansas City is Kansas City.
Kansas City is Kansas City. I was surprised with the Arizona situation. I mean, they look good. DeAndre Hopkins looks like he already has chemistry with his quarterback first year.
Well, so, we have a lot of Arizona fans.
He has more catches than OBJ in 2 years.
I know.
I was listening to the Niners. I was listening to the Niners Cardinals fans in my office just go back and forth at each other this week. It's been hilarious. So
man,
it's crazy. What a crazy week one in the NFL. But DJ HazMatt, I will get you out of here on this one. Tell me, outside of the Browns Bengals game tomorrow night, what other key matchup are you looking forward to in week 2?
Honestly, I don't even know the schedule like that.
Maybe I'm just a nerd like that.
I haven't looked past Thursday.
Well, I'll tell you this. Here's what I'm looking forward to. I'm glad
that we are playing on Thursday so we can quickly try and get this bad taste out of our mouth. Yes. We don't have to suffer a whole week on this loss. And I did do a song. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but it's
not.
So yeah, of course. It was out Monday. I put it on Twitter. It was out there. We already had about 40,000 views on Twitter with that one.
Okay, we'll put that on our page. It's out there on Twitter.
It's on it's on my YouTube channel, Hey Haz TV.
Okay.
So you can have the link and
I'm gonna actually go do that right now. So listeners, I'll put that on our Here We Go Brownies Facebook page. You go check that out. Haz, this is great. Thanks for joining us as always. You're the best. We love getting your takes on everything, the good, the bad, the ugly.
No problem.
And Haz, you need to come out to Boise sometime and check out our digs and check out the city. Like we talked.
I told my wife, I was like, we need to go to Boise, Idaho. She was like, what? No.
Oh, trust me.
No, we coming. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna get out there. You know, when they get all this, whatever's going on in the country now situated, and everybody can feel free to travel as they like.
Right.
We'll certainly put that on the calendar so we can come out there.
Cool city. Mikey had a lot of fun chatting with you yesterday. Mikey.
Yeah, that was cool, man. Y'all got a nice facility, man. It's real nice and bright in there. You know, I'm just here in my dungeon all day. But
out of the dog pound. It looks great. Haz, we love having you on. The best as always. Go check him out, DJ HazMatt. Like I just said, I'm going to promote some of his stuff on our Here We Go Brownies Facebook page. But as always, go Browns. We're looking forward to tomorrow night, and always welcome on the show. We love having you on.
Oh, I do know a matchup that I'm looking forward to.
Yes, let's hear it.
I'm looking forward to the South Euclid Arcs 10U team. My son is on that team, and he's playing. They have a game on Sunday. So
what's their mascot? Cool. What's their mascot?
They are the Arcs. They are the
Let's go Arcs.
Arcs, yes. And so my son, he plays on defense. They got him playing linebacker, so I'm trying to get him. So
future Cleveland Brown right there.
There it is.
Linebacker help.
At least Cleveland doesn't play on Sunday, so I go watch the Arcs play.
There you go.
Let's go Arcs.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
As always, that is DJ HazMatt. We'll go check him out on Twitter, YouTube, all the things. So thanks for jumping on, Haz. We appreciate you. Go Browns.
Go Browns. Peace.
All right. So that's DJ HazMatt. We love having him on. Dustin, let's get into it here. That's the good, the bad, the ugly with DJ HazMatt, recapping the Browns-Ravens loss on Sunday and, previewing the Browns-Bengals game tomorrow night. So Dustin, with that, let's go ahead and have our good friends at onlyincleve.com join us. I'm going to go ahead and admit them. We'll get their take on what happened and what to look forward to. And of course, there they are. Let's see if they're connected to the audio. Look at the fire. How we doing, guys?
Hey, how are you?
Great.
Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Dustin, how are you? How are you?
Great.
You.
Well, we're just so excited to have you guys on. This is Brian and
What's that?
You can't hear it.
we're playing the Browns music behind us
Oh
again.
man, we can't hear it very well, but we love it.
Oh, now I hear it.
Now we're going.
All right.
That's awesome stuff. This is the crew from onlyincleve.com. You know them because we promote them every week. We love what they bring to the table. They've got great stuff, shirts, hats, anything you need. How are we doing tonight in Cleveland, Ohio, guys?
And so, Allie, that is Maura,
Hello.
Brian's daughter.
Well, it's
Hi.
a pleasure to have you guys on. We're thrilled.
Guys.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. So let's get started with this crew. We're just first and foremost so excited to have you on. Initial thoughts from Sunday. Initial thoughts. Let's hear it.
My initial thoughts, let's put it behind us and let's think about tomorrow.
I love it.
There's nothing to, I mean, it was a disaster. Let's move on and let's hope that it's a situation where they were just 4 weeks of training camp, no winter camps, no spring camps, and new coach, new everything.
Mhm.
They have so much talent. They have to do better. If they don't do better than that Thursday, I just won't believe it.
I'm with you. I think we're all with you in that same boat. I appreciate your positivity. I'm with you. Let's put it in the past. Let's move forward. We've got Bengals tomorrow night, Thursday night football, and I think we're all just super excited to put this one on a short week behind us and just keep moving forward. That's all we can do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm
Maura,
with you.
Maura, is that one of the designs, one of the newer designs that you're wearing?
It is, yes. This is our script sleeve
Oh,
design.
Allie, you would love that. See the
I love
216 on it?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah, it's pretty simple. We have this in other colors too for like the Indians, Cavs, whatever else you really wanted in. But yeah, I
Right.
love the Browns one.
Now,
Yeah, that's really cool.
Now, Dustin, you remember those two girls that from our store that you interviewed before? Here they are. They're gonna be
they're
in
Oh, here
modeling.
we are.
Oh,
How we doing, lady? Oh, there's the new shirt, Dustin.
Those are the new
Yes,
shirts.
sure.
No bark, all bite. I love it. The words out of Kevin Stefanski's mouth. Guys, those are awesome
Thank
shirts.
you.
Awesome designs. We
No
love
bark,
that.
all bite. That's what we want to hear.
We
Great
wanted to
stuff.
pop in and say hi, but we didn't want to be the stars of the show.
Oh, ladies,
We're
Yes.
sharing the spotlight
if
tonight.
you come down just a little bit, we'll be able to see your faces if you just lean down
Yes.
a little bit.
Yes. Thanks for coming on. We
No
love
problem.
having you on. You know, it's such a pleasure. Love the shirts, love the designs as always. Appreciate just having you guys on.
Where are you guys going to watch the game? Where are you guys going to watch the game tomorrow?
One of our friends is grilling pizza for the
Oh.
game tomorrow night. So on one of our friends' back decks.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that sounds like
Chugging
a
beers
So
and cheering for
what
the
time
Browns.
do I need to be? What time do I need to be there?
yeah, I think I need to hop on a flight.
We'll send out formal invites
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay, well, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And we're watching the game in a friend's backyard. He has an enclosed
Yeah.
patio. Well, we were invited. We watched it last Sunday there in the enclosed patio. So everybody's kind of watching the games in groups in the backyards and patios and stuff. And
I will be in downtown Cleveland. somewhere.
Awesome.
Distance. Yeah.
So, Maura, do you live in downtown Cleveland, or do you just friends?
I just graduated from college. I
Oh.
went to Ohio State, actually. Love your jersey. But I will be moving to New York in a month.
Oh,
Oh,
wow!
that's
So I'm
awesome.
with my parents right
Congratulations.
now. Oh, thank
So
you.
are you-
Thank you.
Are you taking a job out in New York then?
Yes, yes.
Very cool.
Good
So
for
what?
you.
So what'd you major in?
I was an accounting major.
Okay, so are you going to work for an accounting firm out in New York then?
Yeah, I'll be working for Ernst & Young.
Oh, okay,
Amazing.
very cool. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
I'm very excited. Yeah, it's
Hey, Brian, your family just is worldwide. New York, Spain, they're all over the world. They're just,
right.
I'll tell you, it's amazing. You know, kids these days, they don't stay home the way we used to.
No.
So
Oh, these kids.
let me ask you this, guys. First and foremost, just congratulations to you. That's an amazing accomplishment. We're super excited for you here at the Here We Go Brownies podcast. Brian, I want to take a look at your shirt. I think some of our listeners will really like that with the Muni lot or with the Muni stadium on there. Take a
I
look at that. That's classic.
I love the old classic look. And
Oh, I love
kinda-
that.
I'm an older guy, obviously, and I was at that stadium so many times, had so many good times, especially at Browns games, not Indians games. I mean,
Yeah.
when the Indians played at the old stadium, the Indians didn't get really good until they went to Jacobs Field.
Mhm.
But we had so many incredible magic times at the old stadium. And I can't say the same for the new stadium. It hasn't worked out yet, but God bless it. One of
Well,
the
So Brian,
Speaking
one
of, go
of
ahead,
my
Dustin.
favorite, one of my favorite stories, Brian, is All of us kids, we weren't even old enough. We weren't even 21 yet. We got in our car, drove to Salt Lake, or flew to Salt Lake, got in a car and drove to Cleveland.
Whoa.
I'd never been to Cleveland. And we ended up being at the last Monday night football game against the Bills. And we had no idea that was the last Monday night game.
That was the last Monday night's game? Really?
1995 was the last game in that stadium.
Oh, the Belichick era.
It was also the 10th anniversary of the Dog Pound. So it was kind of surreal because then we came back home and they said they were moving the team. But I mean, we were just young teenagers, basically.
That was crazy times. Crazy times when we were hearing the rumors. We were actually hearing the rumors in about mid-93 that the Browns are moving to Baltimore. We're like, oh, give me a break. The Browns moving. That's what's crazy. There were rumors flying around.
Right.
It happened. And boy, Baltimore's done pretty well since they've left, huh?
Yeah.
We know that all too well. Speaking of the new stadium, First Energy Stadium, of course, we're going to be there tomorrow night. And the state of Ohio is allowing 6,000 fans into the stadium. So that's something that Baltimore didn't have. They had the pumped fake crowd noise and everything, which was a little bit bizarre. What kind of energy do you think that 6,000 fans can bring to First Energy Stadium?
What do you think, Laura?
I think luckily you're probably going to get some of your most dedicated fans there who, because I think they're doing season ticket holders only, correct? Yeah. And by priority, by people who've held their season tickets for the longest. So they're probably going to be some of the most dedicated, loud fans.
6,000 of the craziest
Browns fans out there.
It's going to be 6,000 of the loudest people you've ever heard.
Never doubt a Browns fan. So.
Never.
Yeah, as it's been said.
And here's the thing with it. I know a lot of people are saying, well, it's only 6,000. 6,000 is a heck of a lot better than 0. Right. And I think if we know one thing about this Browns team, and if we know anything about Baker Mayfield, is he thrives off that enthusiasm, right? Yeah. And if you go back to that Thursday night game, I know we talk about that darn Thursday night game all the time, but the energy that was in that stadium, you knew when Baker Mayfield was going in, that's a victory. So I think even 6,000 fans, while it's not, the number you want it to be, it's better than 0. And it's going to be able to kind of pump up the team. This is a big divisional game. I think they're going to bring the fire on Thursday night.
Well, it's going to be the first time all year that they've experienced any reaction from fans and crowd. Sure. And they've all been mentioning that privately in news stories I'm reading that they miss that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That human emotion when you take it out of sports and competition is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I remember that game. You knew they were going to win as soon as Baker came in. You just had the feeling like, here it is. This is the moment he was ready for. It was just weird and kind of, it's like, all right, no more 16, 17, 18, 19 losses in a row.
Yeah, and tomorrow's a big game for Baker, big time. He's got to step up. He's got to make quicker reads. He's got to, in his defense, I think he has a lot of talent, and he's got to get some confidence in this offense. He's got to get some. He's only been doing it for a month in this Stefanski offense, so you got to give him a little time. But I think that the offense is tailor-made for him. All this play action.
Well, Allie and I were talking about we need to run the ball more tomorrow night.
Oh yeah.
Stick to your guns, stick to your basics. And one thing that we just did with DJ HazMatt on air, I asked him, hey, what are your 2-3 keys to a victory tomorrow night? Dustin gave his. Dustin's were run the football, run the football, run the football. I'm gonna ask the same of you guys. How do we beat the Bengals tomorrow night?
Go ahead, Maura.
I have no answer.
Give it a shot.
I'm not a football expert. I have more expertise in areas of tailgating and sporting grounds, but I cannot say that I have a lot of knowledge in football.
That's okay.
So that's on you, Dad.
But you know what? Everybody in Cleveland goes to the games and tailgates, and they love the living heck out of it. But I agree with you totally. With the running game, hit the tight ends, hit the shortstop, hit what's right in front of you. Stop trying to force the ball to Odell. Mm-hmm. And the Browns are loaded on offense with talent, and it's eventually going to come together. It just can't because they're just. It cannot not happen. They have too much talent, and their offensive line last week did a very good job.
Yeah,
for their first week together. My Lord,
all day.
They have talent
all day. Yeah,
I know I'm a delusional Browns fan. I really am. I always am. But they have talent. They have talent on offense. They're loaded.
They are.
I like how
Especially on
Mara's
that
like, yeah,
offensive
my
line.
dad's delusionally about the Browns. I like that. Yeah, he is.
Well, when you guys were asking how we felt about Sunday, when he was saying all that, I'm like, wow, I must be a pessimist because it felt like every other Browns game I've ever watched
We were
in my
very
entire
upset
life.
and ticked off.
I know.
I was upset, but
Yeah, everybody was kind of like, God bless, are you kidding me? This crap again?
it's the same thing. But I mean, without that kind of positivity, they're going to get nowhere. So
Well, and to my argument was, and HazMatt, who we had on, the DJ from Cleveland, they weren't projected to win, but just make it a watchable game and make it competitive. That was my biggest piece.
Well, to be honest with you, until they did some weird stuff like that fake punt. That was strange. She handed Baltimore 3 points. That made it 10-0. Then we cut it to 10-6. Siebert missed the extra point, which is huge. That's huge.
Momentum.
Psychologically. Yeah. And then we could have gone into half like 17-10 or 17-9 or 17-13.
But that drop ball by Odell.
It was a game. It
Yep.
was a game. When the game got out of hand, all of a sudden Stefanski, as a rookie coach, kind of was trying to force the ball to Odell the whole third quarter, and it was just kind of weird, kind of like last year.
Yeah.
I think that this year's Cleveland Browns, as of right now, and I'm not saying they can't become this, but right now they're not a team that can come from behind. I think that their strong suits are obviously running the ball. I think they've got a lot of talent. It's just not gelling yet. I think that they need to get back to basics. And at this point in time, they've got to come out and punch Cincinnati really in the jaw, as we get started tomorrow night, because I just don't think they're a team that can come back.
The defensive line, Cincinnati's offensive line isn't supposed to be very strong. And if our defensive line cannot make a statement tomorrow night, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
Right.
no, you're absolutely
Miles Garrett has to have 2 sacks tomorrow night.
I agree.
That was my bold prediction last week, Dustin, and it just
I hope so.
didn't come to fruition. And Dustin and I were talking off air, and I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to keep the show as positive as possible. I don't want to dwell too much on the negative because there was a lot of it. There was a lot of ugly. And I was able to only come up with a handful of positivities. But the one thing, Brian, you hit the nail on the head is that offensive line. I think that they performed exceptionally well. They gave Baker a lot of time to throw the ball. Now, whether or not he made the right reads, that's on him. But I think they gave him good protection. We were able to run the ball. I thought that was overall a positive.
Cleveland's best bet is to have Baker Mayfield succeed, and let's give him some time, and because he's got the ability, for God's sakes. He's got to get comfortable. This is his third offensive system in 3 years. I mean, that's crazy.
Tough.
Yeah.
That's really
that'd be tough. Honestly, that'd be tough for any quarterback. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And another positive, and I'm going to throw this out there because I asked Dustin and DJ HazMatt on previously. I said, hey, what was worse? Opening day or week 1 this past year or in 2019 against the Titans. For me, I can go back and forth here, but one thing, if you remember 2019 against the Titans, the worst thing was the penalties, the discipline. Of course, you've got Greg Robinson or whatever kick somebody in the head and get suspended, and that was just a whole debacle right there. Yeah. But I saw a lot more discipline this past week, which I was happy about.
No penalties. No penalties.
Very few penalties. I mean, there were some stupid ones here and there, and you're going to have that. It's week 1 with no preseason. But overall, I was pretty impressed with the overall discipline.
I think you do have the sense with this coach that if somebody starts talking about himself too much, I think it's not going to be a good idea, and they might just get rid of him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's the one thing that we've talked about all off season with head coach Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry working towards the same goal. Is there is leadership, there's direction, and they're all on the same page for the first time in what seems like forever.
Yeah, that shirt we have, the all bark, no bark, all bite. I mean, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, I mean, the difference I saw was, like, Freddie said, what's the first thing you're going to do when you see, Odell Beckham Jr.? I'm going to hug him and tell him I love him.
Yeah.
Stefanski doesn't have that kind of attitude. He's more like, we're business-like. I'm going to have a good conversation with Odell. He's going to know what his expectations are. It seems like it's a totally different kind of mindset coming from Stefanski. Whereas I think Freddie was maybe trying to be more of a friend coach, and that just didn't work out too well.
Oh, well, Mara can tell you a story about when she saw Joe Burrows at Ohio State.
No.
There aren't any really crazy stories, but obviously I would see Joe Burrow here and there out at the bars at Ohio State, but he wouldn't know that I existed, but obviously I knew who he was.
Like that's Joe Burrow, right? Yeah.
It's Joe Burrow.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, that was just a part of going to Ohio State. Like even in some of your classes, or just around campus, you just see these people that you would see on the field on a Saturday. It's kind of funny.
They have so much
It is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, these people you know and you love and you watch them, and it's just kind of crazy to see him right then and there.
Yeah, he's an impressive kid. Yeah.
And it's funny because at Ohio State, I don't feel like he was given the light that he deserved for
Okay.
how good he is.
Mhm. I tend to agree with that. Of course, it was kind of a shootout between him and Dwayne Haskins on who was going to win that starting job. And of course, with Joe Burrow, he had that injury in spring training, or not spring training, spring game. And
well, you know your stuff, Allie.
I'm ready to go anytime, Brian. You want to talk about? I'm ready. I am ready to
And
rock.
you know about that. You know about that spring injury and everything.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
trust me. So don't get her talking about offensive linemen, because she could spend a whole show on offensive linemen.
What'd you
Just
think
don't
of
get me started
Jedrick
on it.
Willis?
You know what? I thought Big J put on a performance. I think you're gonna have with him. You're going to have those rookie mistakes. You're gonna have it with Joe Burrow. You're gonna have it with all these rookies. But Big Jed, of course, he had that injury that went out, and you have Kendall Lamb come on in. But at the end of the day, like I said, you didn't have those stupid penalties. You didn't have false starts. You didn't have, lining up offsides or anything stupid.
Right.
Overall, really impressed.
And their run per average was like 5.7 or something,
5.6 or something like
which
that.
is crazy that they didn't run more.
Right.
Kills me. Nonetheless, guys, I'll get you out of here on this one. We're looking forward to tomorrow night. Obviously, we've got Cincinnati coming in town. Joe Burrow, who I'm really excited to see as an Ohio State fan. Of course, you don't root for him because he's playing for the Bengals, but I'm excited to see him. Let me ask you this. What's your score prediction for tomorrow night?
I don't know. I just hope the Browns win.
I'm with you there.
I don't have
The Browns 34-10.
Oh, so he was no. Wow.
All right.
Yeah, they're gonna
that
break
sounds
it.
good to me.
They're gonna break out. Yeah.
So Brian, I thought to our point with our linebackers and our secondary kind of not doing so hot, I had 34-20. I think we'll get my thought is we'll get scored on more. There'll be some breakdowns, but the Browns will just kind of pull away in the
I'm
game.
hoping the defensive line takes control of the game, like Garrett. I hope he's dominant tomorrow. You know.
Yeah.
He has to be. He absolutely has to be.
Yeah.
I've got Browns winning 24-17. Reason being, I think that they can score. I think we've got a depleted secondary, and if that front four doesn't get after the quarterback, you're going to see Joe Burrow make those quick, decisive, decisions to. I mean, they do have a lot of talent. I don't want to discount this team because they're not as bad as they were a couple of years or last year even.
Yep.
Nonetheless, putting Baltimore behind us, remaining positive, and looking forward to tomorrow. But guys, this is onlyincleve.com, the crew from onlyincleve.com. We have displayed some of their new designs. Go check them out. They've got some great stuff. They've got all you need. Go check out.
Hey Brian, do and that sweatshirt, do you have that in a gray or a darker color too? That Cleveland one, the 216?
This one?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can put that on any kind of apparel, any color you want. So
Because I think that would look really cool on a dark brown hoodie like that with the brown popping out. That would look really cool.
Yeah, it's just a simple design.
Yeah,
But
you
a lot
can
of
put
people.
it on anything.
Yes.
I
love
chose
it.
this one personally. Yeah.
Looks great.
Well,
Well,
thanks,
guys, we appreciate having you guys on.
Can we cue you out with the Brown song? Are you ready, Megan?
Let's hear it.
Megan's doing it. I think the girls are just over there having cocktails, Allie,
They're
and
just having their own good time over there.
Oh, they are.
Let's
No,
say-
that's the Browns.
Oh, Megan.
Oh, Megan.
That's
Nonetheless,
all right.
guys, we love having you on. It's always a pleasure, always a joy. There we go. Now we're hearing it. Sounds great. I love it. Go Browns, guys. Onlyincleve.com. Thanks for joining us.
All right,
Thank
thank
you so
you.
much.
Bye
Have a good
now.
one, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
That is onlyincleve.com.
That was a
Dustin,
lot
we're
of,
gonna go
that
ahead
was a
and
lot of fun.
yeah, tons of fun. I mean, obviously jam-packed show with the two exclusive interviews with onlyincleve.com and DJ HazMatt. Dustin, the one thing we didn't get to that I just want to quickly run through before we wrap up here is the injury report. And what to expect.
Not a lot of surprises, right?
Not a lot of surprises here. I'm going to go through first the questionable guys. And these are guys that are, of course, day-to-day, limited reps in practice. Not too many surprises here. First and foremost, for most, you've got Jack Conklin. He's questionable with a ankle and finger. From what I'm hearing, he's going to be just fine tomorrow night, along with Jedrick Wills with that shin. You can expect him to be the starting left tackle. So I think those two guys are fine. JC Treader, we all knew with the knee situation. He is day-to-day, week-to-week, but obviously put on a performance on Sunday. Jarvis Landry with a knee, you can, from what I'm hearing, full go. He'll be full go tomorrow. Yep. Chris Hubbard with that ankle. He did not play last week or on Sunday. It hasn't even been a week ago. And then defensive end Olivier Vernon with an abdomen. I think all of those guys are going to be rocking and rolling by tomorrow.
Yeah, that injury report just kind of tells me the bumps and bruises of playing football in week 1. So what's nice about this, if we get a win, these guys can get healthy, be off the beat up for 10 days and prepare for, I believe, Washington's the next game after that, right? I believe is we have 2 home games in a row. So I tell you what, no team wants to go 0-2 in the National Football League, ever. And what's really interesting is you have 2 teams that play tomorrow that one of them is going to be 0-2 after tomorrow night. So there's a lot of pressure, I think, on both these clubs to get a win tomorrow night. I think you tilt it to Cleveland. But boy, if Cleveland can come out, clean some stuff up, get 10 days off to prepare for Washington. We know how successful teams are when they do have 10 days to prepare for another team. Boy, we could be looking at a whole different situation if we're 2-1 going into week 4. Looks a lot more positive, right?
A lot more positive. So my message, Browns fans, is keep your heads up. We've been through this before. Heads up, stay positive.
Don't go jump in Lake Erie.
Don't go jump in Lake Erie. But real quick, Dustin, I do want to talk about those that are ruled out for tomorrow. Again, none of these should be a surprise. Kevin Johnson with the lacerated liver. Hopefully, maybe next week or in 10 days when we take on the Washington.
That actually seems about right because
along with Greedy Williams in that same boat. So hopefully to have your corners back, along with Mac Wilson, we could see him as early as week 3. Obviously,
that'd be a huge look for the football team.
That would be huge. And then, of course, you guys did see Jacob Phillips, the rookie linebacker, did go out with a knee injury, so he will also be out tomorrow. So no huge surprises there. Bengals will be out. Pro Bowl defensive tackle Geno Atkins with a shoulder injury.
That's a big one.
Mike Daniels with the groin. Safety Sean Williams with the calf, and a guard Xavier Suafilo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So I think we're both depleted in certain areas, but nonetheless, you've got to capitalize. You've got to remain positive. Baltimore's over and done with. We're on to Cincinnati. Sound like Bill Belichick saying that, but you're on to Cincinnati. It is what it is. Let's remain positive and keep our heads up.
Yeah, and just a real quick shout out to we didn't give a shout out to our friends at McGrew Designs. So Allie, you can post this afterwards in the post if you want. We want your guys' predictions for this game.
Oh yeah, we forgot to throw that out there too.
Yeah, so we want your predictions, guys. So Allie will edit the post and put in there, give us your predictions for this game, because you'll get some stuff from our friends from McGrew Design, some of these cool, awesome, all this cool stuff they send us. And then the grand prize winner will get something off the Only in Cleve website, which is really cool. And then, of course, please submit and subscribe, follow our show. We're getting more and more every day. And then Allie and I, to help keep the show going and keep you guys excited about new things in the future, we are going to have merchandise released here very soon. Allie and I have been working on a design back and forth, and the friends at Only in Cleve are actually going to have some really cool merchandise with our show. We're going to put that on a hat, a couple shirts, and probably some kind of mug or glass that you guys can order. And we're really excited about that. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, lots to come. Lots of good stuff in the future. We're just excited. I know, guys, things aren't what we wanted this past week, but our job here is to remain positive and try to take the emotion out of it and just give it to you straight. And as difficult as that may be, sometimes, we take pride in, just telling you what we know and our hopeful and optimism, positivity as we go in, week to week. So Dustin, any closing thoughts here as we wrap up?
No, I just look for hopefully a pretty fundamental, more sound game from the Browns tomorrow. I hope I see the ball being ran a lot. I hope I see a lot of clock being ran. And to your point, I hope I see a lot of defense coming from the boys over on the corners, getting after Joe Burrow and say, oh, yeah, that's what it feels like to get sacked by Myles Garrett.
I think he's going to make his presence known in this game. So guys, we're just really excited. Stay safe, stay healthy out there. And as always, Dustin, go Browns.
Go Browns.